I'm going to show you how incredible the Lumix S5 Mark II is, but I also want to tell you the 5 big reasons, besides the upgraded autofocus, why I think the S5 Mark II could help Lumix take over, or at the very least will be the start of a big change. Lucky enough to be invited out to Tokyo to test this camera, but I really want you to know Panasonic did not pay me to make this video. They've not even asked me to make any videos about it. I genuinely love the cameras. The first time I used the S5, I actually sold all my Canon stuff and switched over to the S5. So everything I talk about in these videos are my 100% honest opinions and my thoughts only. There was only ever really one thing holding back the Lumix S5 from being the perfect camera. And I'm not going to talk about what that is because you already know. Autofocus. Excuse me. And honestly, it's not as bad as what people say. We all know Sony have been leading in the video world for roughly about 2 years now, mainly because they're bringing new cameras out every half hour. Probably brought another one out by the time you finish watching this video. Oh, hang on. Yep, bought another one out. But Lumix have been working silently behind the scenes and delivered the brand new S5 Mark II, which is something that we've all been waiting for. So there hasn't been that many drastic changes to the body. They look, at first glance, very similar. Other than these strap loops, which are loads better than the older versions, they don't get in the way as much. These Mustang-style vents for airflow, brand new 8-way joystick, and most importantly, full-size HDMI. The electronic viewfinder has been upgraded and looks loads better. I don't really use that a lot because I'm not a photographer. Even though it's not stated in the specs, I swear there's been an upgrade on the LCD monitor because to me, it looks so different, so much better. Again, it's not in the specs, so don't quote me on it, but definitely looks different to my eye. What's that? So if you are jumping from the S5 to the S5 Mark II, you'll be happy to know that there's been a bunch of upgrades, not just the autofocus, which is phenomenal by the way. Not only does it track extremely well, but the changes in focus are super smooth and seamless with controlled focus breathing, so it looks and feels like you're using cinema lenses all the time, even with the autofocus lenses. But I don't think we need to talk about it, do you? It's great, it works, it's reliable. That's all I need to say. They've lifted that pesky half-hour record limit, so now we get to film all those fantastically well-rehearsed wedding speeches that everybody does. Am I right? And that's what are making these hybrid cameras more video-centric, features like that. Now we don't have to worry about those limitations. Plus, during my tests, I was recording for well over an hour. The camera didn't get hot at all. It was only just starting to get warm after about an hour. The only way I can describe it is, you know, if you've been sat down for maybe 5-10 minutes and you just feel your bottom, and that's how warm it was. Maybe a bit less warm than that. Depends how hot your bottom is. We now get to film in 6K, which is awesome, but I'm gonna do a full dedicated video on that in the next few days, so stay tuned for that one. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. We've got real-time LUT feature, so not only can we monitor with a Rec 709 LUT on there, but we can also bake in any chosen LUT that you want to the footage, and it's gonna save it to that footage so you don't have to apply the LUT afterwards. So that cuts down your workflow. Personally, I don't think I'm gonna find myself using that a lot because I like to play with the intensity of those LUTs while I'm color grading. So it's not for me, but I know some people will use that all the time. Now there's all that and much more updates, but for now, here's 5 reasons why I think Lumix might even knock Sony off the bench. Probably this year or next year become one of the leaders, or if not the leader, in the video camera market. So reason number 1, these hybrid cameras are essentially photo cameras. They're not video first cameras. What Canon did a while ago is just start introducing video features, but they didn't have the professional video monitoring features that a cinema camera would have. So you're buying a photo camera that records video, and that's okay. But if you do want to take it a little bit more seriously, but you don't have the cinema camera budget, these hybrid ones are great. You're compromising on the monitoring features. Whereas the Lumix cameras have such amazing professional monitoring features and assist features that you could ever find, especially for the price. But what that has done is it's made me a better videographer. Now, I know what you're thinking. You shouldn't rely on your tools to make you better. Yes, you're right. But I've had access to the professional features within an affordable camera. A lot of people don't get to have that experience and practice without hiring or buying an expensive camera. The fact that this has got all that in, it's enabled me to understand the professional terms and features that a video camera should have. Not to mention the quality of the camera. My images obviously are a lot better. The better the tool is, the better it makes you, because you're having to learn a more complex system. So I stand by that statement. Stand by it. Lumix's stabilization was the best in the game, there's no doubt about it. They've gone and upgraded it and made it 200% better, and I have to say, above 24mm, I'm blown away by how smooth this footage actually is. So I can get tracking shots either side by side or follow shots. I'm not gonna say it looks like a gimbal because you can't really recreate that, but there's a lot of shots now that I could go handheld and I don't need to worry about bringing a gimbal, so I love that. Vlog, it's one of the best profiles I've ever used. I've used Sony, I've used Canon. I love the Canon colours, especially how natural they are straight out of camera without doing much. But Vlog is just so good to work with. It's the best colour and image I've ever used, and the dynamic range is incredible as well. If you've not tried the Vlog profile yet, I highly recommend trying it. Then there's the price. Under $2,000 or £2,000, you are getting a professional video and stills camera that's image looks incredible and is easy to use. It's unheard of. You can't get that quality in a full frame camera anywhere else. The only things that probably stand up to it are the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, but again, not full frame, no autofocus, no stabilization. And then people always moan about this, and I don't get it. They say that the L-mount lenses are really expensive. I think they're really affordable, to be honest. Look, don't get me wrong, these things are expensive, but they are professional tools at the end of the day. But they are affordable in comparison to the RF lenses, for example, or even a lot of the Sony G-Master stuff. So I don't see what the big problem's all about, if I'm honest. And the range is getting bigger and bigger. They're even bringing out another one soon. Can I say that or not? Probably. They're bringing another one out. Plus, cinema lens brands are starting to come out with different lens mounts. Before, only a few years ago, you'd only see the Canon lens mounts and you have to get the adapters for them. But now, companies like Sure, really affordable for an anamorphic cinema lens, they're making these lenses for different mounts. So we've got an L-mount one that goes straight onto these cameras. So they've actually sent me the 50mm, and then they've also sent me the brand new 135mm lens as well. And so far, I love what I see. It's one of my favourite lenses. What all this means is, this is my big prediction, because it's so much more affordable and you're getting all the professional features, it's just making it more accessible for the beginners to intermediate videographers who want to step up the quality of the camera gear. And there's no excuse anymore. With autofocus and the best stabilization in the game, arguably one of the best images in this price category, there's no reason not to try this camera. I can definitely see more and more people using this or choosing this over Sony's, for example, that are quite a bit more expensive. And the Canons, again, more expensive with less video features. If that happens and the S5 Mark II does really well, I think Lumix will be able to invest more into something like a cinema style mini body like the Sony FX3, for example, something like that. Once they get the ball rolling, it's going to snowball, and as long as they keep their quality with the competitive prices, I think they're going to become the leaders. I really do. They're going to give the other brands a run for the money. I know they are. So who do I think this camera is for? I think it's now a professional video camera. We've got all the features you could ask for, but because of the price, it's perfect for the beginner who's transitioning into becoming an intermediate or professional videographer, and someone who's looking for that step up in image quality and features, who might not want to spend crazy amounts on a camera, or might be looking to buy two bodies for the price of one. But if you're still not convinced that this can be used as a professional professional camera rig, then check out this video here because it's going to show you how I kitted it out to be like a cinema style rig that the professionals would use on a full production. And make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications because I've got loads of videos coming on the S5 Mark II. Can't wait to share them all with you. I'm going to show you all the exciting features and also the things that people might not be talking about as well, because there's a few hidden gems within this that people might have missed.